The grand marble mansion stood silently in the morning light, a symbol of power, wealth, and perfection. But behind those shining glass walls lived a man who, despite all his success, hadn't felt true peace in years. His name was Ethan Reed, a billionaire CEO known across the country for his sharp mind, cold demeanor, and impossible standards. He ran Reed Enterprises, a global tech company worth billions. To the world, Ethan had everything: money, fame, respect, and a lifestyle people could only dream of. But to those who worked under his roof, he was distant, almost untouchable. He rarely smiled, barely spoke more than necessary, and everyone, from his executives to his servants, lived in quiet fear of disappointing him. Among them was Lila, a new maid hired just 3 months ago. She was shy, soft-spoken, and always kept her eyes down. She wasn't like the others who whispered or tried to impress the boss. Lila came from a small town, with calloused hands and honest eyes. Her father had been sick for years, and her younger brother needed school fees. She had taken this job to survive, not to dream. Ethan barely noticed her. She worked quietly, efficiently, never asking for anything. But one morning, something about her caught his attention, not her beauty, but her gentleness. He noticed how she treated the old gardener with respect, how she picked up broken glass carefully so others wouldn't get hurt, how she worked even when everyone else was gone. It bothered him, not because she did something wrong, but because he couldn't understand why someone so humble, so quiet, seemed to carry such peace within chaos. So one afternoon, Ethan decided to test her. He had heard rumors that some maids would peek into his study or steal little things when they thought he wasn't looking. He wanted to see what Lila would do when she thought he was asleep. That evening, he stayed in his lounge chair, pretending to nap. The sound of soft footsteps entered the room. Lila had come to dust the shelves. She paused when she saw him sleeping, her hands tightening around the feather duster. Quietly, she tiptoed closer. Ethan peeked through half-shut eyes. She didn't look around for valuables. She didn't stop working. But then something unexpected happened. She looked at him, not with fear, not with disgust like others often did, but with pity. Pure, honest pity. She whispered softly, "You must be so tired, sir." Her voice trembled with sincerity. "You have everything, but you look so alone." Ethan froze. He had expected greed or curiosity, not compassion. Then she did something that shattered him completely. She pulled out a small, worn handkerchief from her apron, old, embroidered with fading flowers, and gently covered his hand with it. "You should rest more. Money can't keep you warm," she whispered before walking away. Ethan stayed frozen, pretending to sleep long after she left. Her words echoed in his mind like thunder in silence. Money can't keep you warm. That night, he couldn't sleep. He walked to the balcony, staring at the city lights. For the first time in years, his chest ached not from stress, but from realization. He had built walls so high around himself that not even kindness could climb in. Days passed, but he kept noticing her, how she skipped lunch to save money for her family, how she smiled at everyone despite her tired eyes. One evening, he saw her sitting by the back stairs, crying quietly while holding a letter. Without thinking, he approached. "Lila?" She jumped, wiping her tears quickly. I am sorry, sir. I'll go." "Wait," he said softly, his tone unusually kind. "What happened?" She hesitated, then finally whispered, "My father, he needs surgery. I've been saving, but I'm still short. I don't know what to do." Ethan felt something shift inside him, a crack in the stone heart he had carried for years. He silently reached for his wallet and took out an envelope of cash. "Take this." She shook her head. "No, sir. I can't. I didn't tell you for money." He looked at her, her trembling hands, her honesty, her pride despite her pain. For a moment, he saw himself years ago, a poor, desperate young man working his way up with no one to believe in him. "Then take it," he said firmly, "as a loan. Pay me back when you can." She hesitated, then took it with shaking fingers, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Thank you, sir. I won't forget this." What neither of them knew was that this single act of kindness would change both of their lives. Months passed. Lila's father recovered. She kept sending small amounts back to repay Ethan. She never once missed a payment, no matter how small. Ethan watched her grow stronger, more confident, more alive. Her presence became a light in that cold mansion. He started greeting his staff, smiling sometimes, even joining dinners occasionally. The man who once lived like a machine was learning to feel again. One evening, after a company charity event, Ethan came home exhausted. Lila was still there, cleaning the library. He asked, "Why do you work so hard, Lila? Don't you ever rest?" She smiled softly. "Because someone once told me that if you're blessed with work, you should never waste the chance to do it well." He nodded slowly. "Your father raised a remarkable daughter." Her eyes glistened. He used to say the same about good men, that they don't just exist in books. Their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them, a quiet understanding that both had healed each other in ways words could never express. A year later, Ethan's company announced a new initiative, the Reed Foundation for Workers' Families, offering financial and educational aid for low-income employees. Reporters praised his generosity, but when asked what inspired it, Ethan simply said, "A maid once taught me that true wealth isn't in what you own, it's in what you give." Lila stood in the audience that day, tears in her eyes, smiling proudly. She didn't need the world to know the truth. Ethan had found his heart again, and that was enough. Final message. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness from the humblest heart can awaken the humanity lost inside the richest soul. It's not money, fame, or power that defines who we are, it's the compassion we choose when no one is watching.